30 years ago, the case of the Central Park Five shook New York City to its core. Today, it stands as a cautionary tale of injustice, as Maurice Dubois explains.
Kevin Richardson, 44 years old.
Corey Wise. Raymond Santana.
Yusuf Salam, 45 years old.
Antron McCray.
5 men, connected in a way few of us could ever imagine.
Is there a day or a week or a month that goes by when you don't think about the whole episode that brought you together?
It's every day, constantly.
Probably my second or third thought.
Even our conversations is different. It's not normal. Our conversations would be about prison, how we had to survive in prison.
You've just met the Central Park Five, a name they came to share 30 years ago after a young white woman named Tricia Miley went for a jog in New York's Central Park.
It was a brutal attack on a 28-year-old woman jogger.
She was dragged down the bushes where she was beaten and sexually assaulted.
The attack was an outrage and became a media sensation. Investigators quickly focused on a group of black and Hispanic boys who were in the park that night.
Police say the gang of attackers was actually just half of a wolf pack of some 33 kids that committed some 7 other muggings earlier that night.
We are announcing the arrests of 4 males, all between 14 and 15 years of age.
Let them through.
Eventually, the 5 teenagers were tried, convicted, and imprisoned for the crime they maintained they did not do.
All we need is for one to tie this whole thing together.
The story of how the boys were charged and years later cleared of that notorious crime is the subject of a new Netflix miniseries by the Oscar-nominated writer-director Ava DuVernay.
What was your starting point for this story?
My goal was to humanize boys and now men who are widely regarded as criminals. And in doing that, to invite the audience to reinterrogate everyone that they define as a criminal.
The series is called When They See Us, and DuVernay contends that what is seen all too often in criminal cases is race.
I'm asking the question to everyone, what do you see when you see black boys? And that's a painful answer because I know what the answer is for many people. It's exactly what these boys were called, wolf pack, animals, criminals. So much so that they could be tossed aside on a case that was made from a complete lie.
Kevin, Antron, and Raymond saw you messing around with the lady.
Who said that?
In the series, as in life, only 2 of the 5 teenagers even knew each other. But during interrogation, they say police coerced them to create stories implicating one another.
Who are you talking about? The lady in the park! I didn't see a lady or hit anyone.
Raymond saw you hit her!
Who's Raymond?
The men who lived through it say the reality was even worse.
As soon as we get in, they separate us, and they start working on us. And I'm hearing Corey being physically beaten in the next room. And I'm immediately beyond afraid.
At the time, my mom, she suffered from a stroke. She had diabetes, and she left. And that was their time to get on me.
And what happened?
What didn't happen?
We're 14, 15, and 16-year-old kids. Never been in trouble with the law, never had no police contact. These are seasoned veterans. This fight was fixed.
I just kept telling the truth at first. They asked to speak to my father. My father left the room with them, came back in the room, he just changed. Cursing, yelling at me. And he said, tell these people what they want to hear so you go home. I was like, Dad, but I ain't do anything. The police yelling at me, father yelling at me. And I just like, all right, I did it. And I looked up to my father. He was my hero. But he gave up on me. You know, I was telling the truth. He just told me to lie.
Did you ever make peace with your father?
No. Didn't want to. My life is ruined. Why should I? He's a coward.
Let me tell you right now, Corey, okay? This is very, very serious.
None of the 5 ever admitted to committing the rape, but they did confess to being there.
You know that other people say that you did.
I know I did.
They blamed each other, damning admissions, even in the absence of physical evidence.
No blood on their clothing. The semen doesn't match. The DNA tests come back negative. There's nothing that links these boys to the crime.
All were found guilty. 4 of the 5 served about 7-year sentences as juveniles, refusing early parole because it required admitting guilt. But the oldest of the group, Corey Wise, served time as an adult. In his 13th year in prison, Wise had a chance encounter with another inmate that would change the lives of all the men convicted of the rape.
The resolution of this whole tragedy came from something that I don't believe is happenstance. It's a coincidence that borders on miracle.
Matias Reyes spotted Wise in a prison yard.
So he's just talking to me. Wow, you still here after all these years? I guess so.
They'd met years before, and he began to feel guilty that Wise was still in prison for a crime Reyes had committed.
He saw Corey and was like, he's still here? I gotta tell the truth.
Reyes confessed that he alone committed the rape, offering details about the crime that only the assailant would know. His DNA was a match, and the men were exonerated. The city of New York eventually agreed to a $41 million settlement, about $1 million for each year of imprisonment.
Did the money make it better?
We were able to relocate, put our children in better situations. Besides that, no.
No amount of money could have given us our time back.
Is there a life lesson for what you've been through?
Truth. I preach to my kids, just tell the truth, be true to who you are. Honestly, the last time I lied got me 7.5 years for something I didn't do.